Hey there, Skullheads. I'm Snags.
And I'm old Silky.
And I'm Alan.
We got Beetle Bailey, our trusty sidekick, with us again. And tonight we're going to be talking about old rock and roll.
Rock
The
and
the
roll.
birth the birth of everything that we call rock and roll for episode 140. And it's funny, you go back to some of these we're gonna burn all the Beatle records and these people are so proud of themselves
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
time makes them look like absolute jackasses.
Yeah. Every generation has had Karens. They just didn't label them as Karens.
Right, right.
That's
Um,
what it is.
just the well, we're gonna come on down to this bonfire and burn. We've burned all the Beatle albums. Well, great, dude,
Yeah.
great. You've really stomped out. You've vanquished evil.
You
Yes,
caught
you
you
have.
caused yet another newspaper article about the Beatles.
But it was,
Yeah,
I mean, same with jazz.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, the first time somebody saw the jitterbug and lost their mind.
Oh,
right.
there's articles. I think it was like a Mother's Home Journal article or something like that from the 1920s about how jazz was the devil's music and
Yeah.
keep your kids away
Yeah,
from it. And,
Hey,
yeah,
it's nothing new. Hey, oh, something different. Oh, it must be evil. Let's
yeah,
yeah,
get rid of
yeah.
it.
punk
Yeah.
rock,
You
gangster
know,
rap, same thing.
I think back to Keith Richards saying, "Yeah, me and the devil, we're like this," Old Satan, yeah,
Hey, we
pretty
And
funny.
got we got El Condor in the house.
Uh-oh, El
hey,
Condor.
Go to snagsandsilky.com. We got mugs, we got t-shirts, we got everything.
Stickers.
Stickers, hoodies, 7-year-old child plays. We have it
What?
all.
Wait a minute.
stop it.
No.
Oh,
Yes,
not
we
again.
do. Yes, we do.
Okay.
Oh, good
Oh my
Lord.
God.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
Jokes have been made, Father. You
Okay.
cannot silence the truth.
Oh
Wow.
my God. And you realize the older he gets, the worse these cameos are
Oh
gonna.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, the fuse has been lit.
Anyways, so yeah, check out the store. All kinds of shit apparently.
Yeah, 7-year-olds.
Well, um,
Jesus.
so yeah, so hip us on early
Well,
rock and roll,
so
Silky. What do you
you
got?
got the birth of rock and roll. If you go back to really the swing jazz, the upbeat jump jazz, there were several um, terminologies for it, but you just had the big band swing, high energy. The teens were the dance partners were throwing each other. The guys would throw the girl up in the air and swing her down, and just that was to me that was rock and roll. You guys coming back from World War II and the high energy of just um, having been through hell, and you come back and just you know they can't control themselves, and you had um, you had Sun Records. You had all these small record labels across the country. Um, and at the time, it was very much if you were black, you were blues or R&B. If you were white, you were country, that kind of thing. And Sam Phillips records this young guy named Elvis. And, I won't say Elvis lit the fuse, but we talked about Elvis, but the very first, what's touted as the first rock and roll song was Jackie Brenston's "Rocket '88," um, and Ike Turner, that was his baby, and these guys rode their car up to Sun Records, and the story goes that the amp fell off the back of the car and got damaged. And when they got to Sun Records, they hook everything up to record their song, and there was like a fuzz of feedback, reverb going on. Alan, have you heard that story?
It sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Um, and so Rocket 88 is widely considered the first rock and roll
Right.
song.
Right. Yep.
But you have other, Hal and Wolf and some of these guys recorded at Sun. And while if you zero in on one artist, Muddy Waters or Hal and Wolf, any of these guys, even the Prison Airs who recorded at Sun, you look at each of these individuals and go, okay, they're black, blues, R&B, but if you pull back, they're all puzzle pieces to what would become rock and roll. Um, because if you listen to, uh, I mean, the top names, the big names, you had Elvis, Buddy Holly, Eddie Cochran, Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, Bill Haley, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, Johnny Cash. Some of these guys would make up the Million Dollar Quartet. Um, that was just randomly recorded one night at Sun Records. Um, but the history, and it wasn't always Sun. You had Little Richard was over at Specialty Records. There were different areas, so um, different regions that recorded all this stuff. So
So Bill Haley, though, is an important name because he was mixing country and rhythm and blues and became pretty famous for it before all those other names that you're mentioning. So
right,
1952, I think, he starts dropping songs, and then Rock Around the Clock is released. It's kind of a mid-level hit, but then it's on the soundtrack for Blackboard Jungle and becomes a gigantic hit. And so Bill Haley, while he didn't have as illustrious of a career as a lot of those guys, he really helped light the fuse before they came along, and really helped kick off the genre. Rocket 88 and Bill Haley, I would say.
yeah, and like I was kind of hinting at Louis Jordan and his, jump jive,
Hmm. Yeah, all
just
that stuff influenced it. Yeah.
yeah, they were just madmen up on stage.
And
Um,
and off stage. If you read
yeah,
any of these fucking biographies,
yeah,
90% of these guys were fucking maniacs.
I mean,
th-
just look at the energy they had on stage.
Yeah.
that's yeah,
I mean,
that's
like,
it right there.
I mean,
So you had these guys just off the fucking chain on stage, and they were
yep.
they were basically, uh, you had these nice songs,
Yeah.
Percy Faith's
Yeah.
theme from A Summer Place,
Right.
which I love that song. But you had shit like that, or Patty Page's "How Much Is That Dog in the Window?"
My father's favorite is Peggy Lee.
Peggy
Uh,
Lee,
and even though she's great, yeah, it ain't rock and roll.
right? No,
You
so you had that element,
know,
but it was time for like Eddie Cochran's "Something Else," which is a fantastic song about a kid who, he wants that car, he wants that girl. He saves his money up, he gets the car. He's, by the end of the song, he's knocking on that girl's front door. You know, and it was a message to the kids coming up. Hey, man, if you get that car, you're gonna get that girl. You know,
yeah.
um, in some way. It's very inspiring. And there were a lot of story songs. Chuck Berry, "Chasing After Maybelline," um, you know, or just so many story songs throughout the songwriting in the 50s.
Those were really filthy lyrics too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the
yeah,
shake, rattle, and roll. I'm a one-eyed cat peeping in a seafood store.
yeah,
Come on, little baby. You ain't a little girl no more.
yeah. That's Big Joe Turner, man. He was telling
Yeah.
him.
Joe
He
Turner.
was
Uh,
basically saying, "Look, we fucking. You might not want to, but just go with it. You know,
Yeah.
because
well, yeah, and he's basically looking up. I mean, if you take that, if you take it literally, it's about a cat in a seafood store. But if you take it literally as far as the, what it's supposed to mean, he's looking up
yeah,
some chick's dress and
oh
realizing
yeah,
she's
yeah. You
got a
can
full
tell
bush going
all
on.
that
You
all
know?
that when the sun comes shining through when you the way you wear those dresses the sun comes
Yeah.
shining through.
So
um
in the movie American Hot Wax, just watched it last night, and
Great
it's
movie.
great. And yeah, there's a scene where one of the Karens is reading the lyrics um, to Chuck Berry's song. I forget the title, but he's like
Right.
he's reciting it. We boogied in the kitchen. We boogied in
Oh
the
yeah,
hall.
yeah,
I boogied on my finger and I rubbed it on the wall.
yeah, yeah.
He's mortified by those lyrics.
That's fantastic.
It's great.
I mean, and like Chuck Berry comes out of St. Louis and he goes to Chicago and he wants to audition to Muddy Waters. He wanted to play with Muddy Waters. And he gets to Chess Records and he's written songs and they recorded Maybelline and some other. He actually there's an amazing Chuck Berry box set,
Yes.
uh, massive. It's got two hardbound books, um, and in there it actually has his first two recordings, side A and side B, with
Wow.
another artist.
Yeah.
And but you play that early stuff. It's some guy, but you can hear Chuck Berry's tone in there right away.
Oh yeah. That's
If
yeah. He's rock and roll to me. To me,
Yeah, yeah. If anybody fully developed the art form,
yeah.
it was him.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
He's a complete package, singer, guitar player, songwriter, and wrote all these, just the sound of riff that he popularized that
Yeah.
yeah.
and
He
inspired.
allegedly modeled his famous riff after Johnny Johnson's piano roll.
Mm,
Um,
interesting.
and so he says, yeah, I took the credit because I wrote the song, but my piano player, you know, um, I gotta give it to him. I was just playing the guitar part of the piano part he was playing. Um,
Interesting. Yeah.
The documentary that we were watching.
We've
I
got
was
a early rock and roll documentary. We'll post it on the Click Pit for you.
right. I mean that's required watching. If anybody is, if you're listening to this, you have to watch that documentary. It's perfect. I think it just covers everything it needs to cover in a real concise way. And it's just, you know,
It's
and it's
that's
so
cool.
yeah, so let's talk about some of the key scenes. We were mentioning this before we started recording, but there's
yeah.
just the stuff that really struck me, and there's a lot of stuff in there, but was footage. Bill Haley goes to England to play some shows, and a full riot breaks out, and there's just footage of just all these English hooligans throwing chairs all over the auditorium, and the cops chasing them around, and
Well, that's what it's like it's a soccer game
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
too.
So the
yeah.
scene, these sock hops or whatever you want to call them, it's just all these teenagers getting together, and they've come up in just this almost smothering of niceness, of just soft music, the sweltering smothering of society and what you're supposed to do and who you're supposed to be seen with. And I think it was just a wide coming of age where people were like, you know what,
Yeah.
fuck you, I don't you know,
It was
fuck
a
this.
champagne. Yeah, it was a champagne bottle and the cork coming out.
Hmm.
It was just a lot of pressure, just escaping.
Yeah.
It's
This is our time, and
yeah,
go
yeah,
fuck yourself.
right. And Fats Domino, I thought summed it up best when there's a reporter asking him, "What do you think of this new rock and roll music? That you're playing and whatever." He's like, "Well, we've been calling it rhythm and blues for 8 years, but I guess it's rock and roll now."
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Because I was going to ask you guys,
yeah.
um, at this point, like the playlist I made, I
Oh,
called it Loud, Fast, and Out of
and
Control.
by far my favorite playlist that you posted.
Excellent.
I just
Uh,
think, oh yeah, it's fantastic.
and the way to play that playlist is on random, because
That's
I
how I
started
did.
filling it with large chunks of some of
Oh
these artists, but then I'm like, man, I gotta throw in some of the
yeah,
the one hit wonder stuff. But nobody wants a warm sweater.
yeah,
Rock and roll needs to be dangerous. It needs
right.
to be you listen to Buddy Holly's Down the Line,
Oh boy.
and that's a fucking just amazing song. And he's in his car, and he's going to see his baby, and he's gonna roll down the line. He's on his way, and he knows when he gets there that he's gonna be banging the shit out of her, you know. Or Jerry Lee Lewis pounding his piano at Great Balls of Fire. There's that high pit, that moment of just the ting 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 ting. It's fucking electrifying.
Yeah.
Or Little Richard screaming along with the saxophone on "Ooh My Soul." Uh,
Mhm.
to me, that is rock and roll. Um, Early on in my relationship, my wife, we were dating, and she asked me, what is rock and roll?" Like, she wanted to know what I thought, and I instantly thought of all these artists in the '50s
Yep.
when it was raw, you
Yep.
know.
Hmm.
um, and it has mutated through the decades. And you can put something on now, and if it's rock and roll, it's gonna be abrasive, loud, maybe something I don't even like,
Yeah.
but too much of it has been refined, and they mutate it back to what I call a warm sweater. And nobody needs that. We don't need Pearl
Oh,
Jam. We need just,
oh,
The
Pat
Melvins.
Boone. Pat Boone.
yeah, thank you.
That was the problem.
Pat
they,
Boone
they made
singing
covers
Tutti Frutti.
of the best songs, and those outsold the originals. And I was ready to throw something at the TV.
Yeah, the famous story is that Pat Boone's Tutti Frutti is
Oh,
out on display in the kids' room, and when mom and dad leave, they pull the Little Richard
yeah.
version out of the sock drawer, and they're playing that.
Oh my God.
But so Snags, Alan, what do you think is rock and roll?
Rock and roll. Well, I gotta say it's Bill Haley, Rock Around the Clock,
Yeah.
and I have an extended story about that.
Okay, go.
My father grew, his music was jazz, big band jazz, Glenn Miller, that sort of thing, easy listening.
Sure.
However, if he liked something, he liked it. And when I was in fourth grade, we could bring in, we had a really cool teacher. We could bring in a record and he would play it, on any given day. And my father had a collection of 45s, and one of them was Rock Around the Clock. And I asked him, can I bring in, the record? And he's like, yeah, but be very careful with it.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Here we go. I get on the bus. Now, I don't want to blame my dad, but they should have, had me put it in something.
Sure.
I just was carrying it in my
Oh
hand.
boy. Yeah. And if you care, then
I
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm walking on the bus. Now, this is old school 70s bus.
Yeah.
Everything's metal.
Sure.
I I didn't even sit down. I crack the record on the bar in front of me. That you can grab onto,
Fuck.
from the next seat in front of you.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
And I'm just like, I'm dead.
Oh,
I am dead.
yeah.
And I'm like, I come
Uh,
home, not only I couldn't play the record,
yeah,
in the classroom, but I had to explain to him what happened, and I knew he wanted to kill me, but he didn't.
yeah.
He didn't. He just, I don't know what he did to, release his frustration,
Oh.
but he spared my life that night.
Now, see, I have a room full of rare records and different things, and I would just say, no, you're not taking that.
Yeah, I would have gone to bigger lengths to make sure, it was
Yeah,
in a case or something. He just let me.
something. Yeah. Um, Now we mentioned Sun Records, and I want to say, um, in '05, I was still living in Atlanta, and my first wife and I drove to Memphis, and we got a hotel. We had a hotel reserved. We get there the next day. She wanted to go to the Memphis Zoo, which I had no use for, but I was like, okay, we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll do all the music stuff. And we leave the hotel, and we're on Union Avenue, and we're driving through, and we're at a red light, and I just happened to look over at 706 Union Avenue, and my jaw, everything just shut down. I'm looking at Sun Records,
Oh
and
wow.
and it still looks
Nice.
the view that I had at it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was this. I've got a postcard of it,
Yeah.
Nice.
but
Oh, yeah.
that's the front door of Sun Records. Just these little windows and the brick front,
Yep.
and I'm like, you got to be fucking shitting me, you know? And you see the Memphis Recording Service neon light in the window, and like my wife at the time had to alert me to drive again because I was just dead in the water, and instead of going to the zoo, we pull in there because I'm like, oh my God, it's right there. I'm seeing it was as if I was seeing a celebrity,
Yeah.
And we parked and went in, and they actually were open, and we did like the Sun Records tour, but
Oh man, great.
my feet never touched the ground. We're there and we're walking through around, and you go upstairs and hear all these stories, different things, and you see the microphone that Elvis used, and
Yeah, that's great.
just it was so
I
amazing.
I would rather go there than Graceland. That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah. We ended up doing Graceland, but to see Sun Records
yeah,
was
that's where you want. That's
absolutely, and what was great is it was the weekend of Hank Williams' birthday, and there was a flyer. You know those old cardboard flyers that
Hmm.
that are almost poster size. Uh, they had this up of a concert that was going to be playing the next night, and it was going to be all Hank Williams celebrating his birthday at some roadside bar. And I'm like, we have to go to that. And when we went, it was like they played Hank songs for 4 hours.
So it
I
was
mean,
like a tribute band, or they were playing it the actual on the recordings on the.
no, no, it was a tribute. It was live music.
Well, that's cool.
It was live music, and you're in Memphis. It was just all these different shit kicker, much like when Snags and I went to Nashville, and Roberts is this famous bar that has all these
Yeah,
booths on
yeah. Yeah.
Um, it was exactly like that, just hardcore, uh, working musicians, and they just several bands played that night, but it was all Hank Senior uh, songs,
That's awesome.
and it was, dude, it was my feet never touched the ground.
Yeah, that was
It,
awesome.
um, just all that old rockabilly, and that was my point with all that is, you had the swing stuff of Louis Jordan, um, a lot of these bands. Again, if you zero in on Johnny Cash, oh, that's a country artist, or Carl Perkins, rockabilly. But if you step back enough, it's all just puzzle pieces to what that first face of rock and roll was.
Yeah, that's it. I like that way you put that, puzzle pieces perfectly. Yes.
Um, because individually, oh, Buddy Holly and the
Yeah.
Crickets, okay, but it's rock and roll, and um, sadly, I think a lot of people now have no idea.
Well,
Uh,
let me. This is a good time to bring this up.
yeah,
My wife is 18 years younger than me. She's 42 years old. Her favorite artist of all time is Buddy Holly.
fuck yeah,
I
Hmm.
like.
that's fantastic.
How do you even when we first, like we're,
Yeah,
like, how do you even know who Buddy Holly is? Like,
that's great.
let alone.
There,
Yeah.
there is a box set, and it's the complete Buddy Holly, and
Oh,
it's phenomenal.
yeah.
If you don't know about that,
I'm sure. Yeah. That'll be on the list. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
and
do
then
have quite a collection, but
Yeah, it's a really good hardback book in there. It's just phenomenal.
yeah.
Um, and for decades, I used to bitch that half this Buddy Holly shit's out of print, and he's, Buddy Holly.
That's another one like Chuck Berry, that the complete package, singer,
Oh,
guitar player, writer,
yeah,
and wrote just as many great songs in his very
yes.
short life. Yeah.
And Buddy Holly wrote so much, and there was a drama. There was like some of his songs. There was just a drama in the song that only a young teenage, just early 20s, could really channel that drama into the performance of the song or the lyrics of the song. And
enter the Beatles.
enter the Beatles, exactly. Um,
He was
you know,
huge influence.
and when we did that
They
Beatles,
they 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 ripped their name
The
from the
name from the
Crickets.
yeah,
Crickets. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
we did that Beatles episode, and I read that Beatles book, um, that's just called The Beatles.
It's a great
Uh,
book. Yeah.
yeah, it is amazing because as much as I thought I knew about the Beatles, I realized how raw they were. That they were thrash metal artists
Right.
in '63.
Oh, I so want to get into a time machine and go to
Yeah.
Hamburg.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
I was gonna say when
yeah,
they were in Hamburg and they were just
Yeah.
yeah,
hyped up on amphetamines,
Oh
playing
my.
yeah,
6 shows a day.
and
Oh,
playing all
Yeah.
fucking day. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that
oh man.
was, Metallica playing clubs in San
Yeah,
Francisco, basically. Yeah.
totally. That's Metallica at the Stone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and there's so many great stories. Buddy Holly and the Crickets. Some of those guys, the drummer was still in high school. And they're gonna go. They're gonna get in the car and drive over to some shows in Alabama. It's the summer. They're going to be gone, and they all get in the car and they swing by and pick up the drummer. And the drummer's mom comes out to Buddy and says, "Now you take care of my son." And they're all standing in the front yard like, "Okay, Mrs." And we're going to take good care of him. And all they want to do is get in that fucking car and get on the road, get out from the shelter of the parents, and get on the road and share that bottle of whiskey and get to that place and play for half an hour and bang groupies all night. um and that's rock and roll,
That's rock and roll, right?
right there, dude. But the other, we read that Elvis book, Careless Love, and in that they talk about this movie that's called Let the Good Times Roll. And I picked this up from it's called the videobeat.com, and they have a shit ton of 50s and 60s youth culture on DVD. There's a lot. If you look them up, there's just a shit ton of those old car movies. Teenagers hot rodding around. But this was um, in the movie theaters in 1973, and it was a like a package tour similar to American Hot Wax, um, up on the stage and stuff. But this had Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, the Five Satins, Bill Haley and the Comets, Bo Diddley, the Coasters, Danny and the Juniors, the Shirelles,
Yeah.
Chubby Checker. Just it was incredible, and they refer to this movie in Careless Love, 1973, and Elvis talking about how all the stuff from the 50s was making a comeback, and uh, he didn't quite know how he felt because they didn't include him or try to ask him to be there. And he was touring and doing his own thing, but playing his current stuff, whereas these guys were playing stuff from 20 years prior.
Yeah, well, that was the whole thing, in the 70s, Sha Na Na, American
Yeah.
Graffiti, Happy
Yeah.
Days. It was the
Yep.
nostalgia wave. Just
Yeah.
like in the 90s, you had Dazed and Confused, Kiss got back together. There was a whole
Right.
70s nostalgia thing.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Every 20 years, yeah. Every
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so I wanted to spotlight some of those songs that I felt encapsulated rock and roll. Chuck Berry's "Too Much Monkey Business," and even "School Days," where he screams "Hail, hail, rock and roll." I still get chills when I hear that. And he reached a generation of kids because all his songs were about being teenagers, Sweet Little 16, and just all of it. I think it grabs each of us uh, hearing it for the first time. We're like, holy shit, this guy's talking to me.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he was thinking about real teenage stuff going on.
that I think is timeless. You can't wait to get out of school and go to that hangout, wherever it is. In the song, it's a diner, and rock the coin right into the slot. You got to hear something that's really hot.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you just want to make time with some girl, and all that shit.
Right.
And
Timeless. Speaking directly to the youth of that age.
Yeah.
I think that if the flip side of Chuck Berry to me is Bo Diddley. Like he like Chuck Berry laid down how to play lead guitar for
Sure.
rock. And to me, Bo Diddley was just that great chicka 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 chicka, that rhythm.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of closer to the blues.
Yeah.
Than rock and roll.
Oh no, Bo Diddley was rock and roll. Completely.
Rock and roll.
Well, yeah.
So I think if we didn't have Chuck Berry, I think we would have been all right with Bo Diddley at the lead.
Yeah, I just Chuck wrote better songs, but what I love about Bo Diddley was him and Jerome would just rip each other. And there's songs, they had songs where they would just hey man, I saw your girl the other night, and man, she is ugly, and just back and forth. And that that hints at the novelty records,
Yeah.
and
Two things about Bo Diddley. First of all, Silky and I saw him in the '90s in a club. We were like,
that was incredible.
10 feet away from him. It was awesome. And then I these lyrics always give me chills, so I just have to read them. I walked 47 miles of barbed wire, used a cobra snake for a necktie, got a brand new house on the roadside made from rattlesnake hide, got a
Uh-huh.
brand new chimney made on top made out of a human skull.
Yeah.
Fucking those are Slayer lyrics, man. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking
So
badass. That shit was, in the 50s he's singing that shit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
and
Take a walk with me, honey. Tell me, who do you love?
Yeah. Fucking
Because he's
killer.
going to walk her around the back of the house and dog her, just raw dog her right on the back steps.
Oh yeah.
You know?
That's the next verse. How did you guess? That's
right.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
now I think I'm correct in this. He was the first artist to get banned off the Ed Sullivan show after one performance because
Oh
he
really?
showed up and they had pre approved of a song he was going to do, one of his standards, like
Right.
whatever, I can't think of it, but instead he showed, they gets on camera and he starts playing the song called Bo Diddley, the
Yeah.
song about himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Ed Sullivan was furious
Oh, shit.
and pulled his "You're never playing on this," show.
Right. Right.
He did to the Doors
Yeah.
and
Mm.
whoever else.
The Stones, let's spend some time together. That was
Well,
sweet.
yeah, the Stones bent the knee.
Yeah.
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 That
Yeah.
footage of Mick Jagger singing spend some time together and rolling his eyes every time he
Yeah.
has to
Yeah.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But
And but
it's much cooler Jim Morrison looking right into
yeah.
the camera and going, couldn't
Ah,
get much higher. You're
yes.
like,
Yeah.
you weren't supposed to say that.
Yeah. And
Hilarious.
the story there is Sullivan asked them very nicely, and yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
sure,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, well, we won't sing that, and he's like, "Fuck you,
Looks right into the camera and
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
girl, we couldn't get much
yeah.
higher."
The exclamation point
Yeah,
made it
Mhm.
all. Yeah.
and just like "Come on, baby, light my fire." When I heard that song as a young age, "Girl, we couldn't get much higher." I saw it as how the flames get higher, and it was so not. Let's
Yeah.
smoke some weed, and I didn't. But I've kind of hit it on this before with all that music. It grabbed a generation of kids. Uh, Fashion, the movies. You had West Side Story, Splendor in the Grass, Rebel Without a Cause, King Creole, Robert Mitchum in Thunder Road. Um, Actors James Dean, Natalie Wood, Sal Mineo. There was just all these characters that summed up the image of rock and roll, or the tragic teenager, that kind of thing. Snags mentioned a movie uh, from that time. What movie did you say earlier?
American Hot Wax.
No, because that was in the 70s. We're
Oh,
talking,
oh, oh, Blackboard Jungle, yeah.
yeah, Blackboard Jungle,
Yeah.
and just a slew of hot rod movies in the 50s. Guys joy riding around, and somebody dies, and all the um,
Oh yeah,
all
the wild ones.
the wild ones,
Yeah.
yeah. All the kids dying in the song, all the songs about somebody dying in a car crash, or that kind of thing. Leader of the pack, all that shit.
And then you have Screaming Jay Hawkins pioneering
Yes,
the Alice Cooper
theater
Misfits.
theater rock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The horror rock genre.
yeah. I
Yeah.
put a spell on you is still just phenomenal.
He would get up out of a coffin on
Yeah,
stage. Yeah.
yeah, and scare the
It-
living shit out of these.
He had that cameo in American
Yeah.
Hot Wax.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he
yeah. He's
gets
in
out
there.
of the limo, looks like a Zulu warlord,
Yeah, yeah,
and then and then they show him doing that thing on stage with
yeah.
the skull and everything.
Um,
Oh my God.
and even Wolfman Jack, the DJ with the real deep voice, and he was all through the '70s too. Quite the
Oh, him. Yeah, 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 yeah.
icon. He had some records. I've tried to track some of those down.
Well, he's the host of the Midnight Special, which I've been
Yeah,
binging.
yeah,
Yeah. And another point about that was I probably watched the first 50 episodes. Now this thing started in the early 70s, like 73, I think.
right.
And it was fine, and then they did a rock and roll revival show. And Jerry Lee Lewis comes out jumping on the piano just
Nice.
like he did 20 years ago.
Right.
He had more energy than anybody I had seen on that program up to
Wow.
that point. It
Right.
was crazy good.
That's
Everybody else was they were all on Quaaludes or something back then.
right. And Jerry Lewis kind of faded in the '60s, and then he had a resurgence in the late '60s by doing country songs. And he had a slew of country albums coming out of '68 into the mid '70s, and they are golden. They're so good, it's ridiculous.
His work is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just not a bad Jerry Lee Lewis.
And he has no blemishes in his life at all.
No, and I love he's the true rock and roll punk. And I was gonna segue.
Well, first though, we got to talk about that. That's the other thing from that documentary that's chilling to watch, aside from the riot, is you hear about how Jerry Lee Lewis married his 13-year-old cousin,
Right.
but seeing an interview of him with his arm around this awkward child, and the reporters say, "Mrs. Lewis, do you have any thoughts on, and she's just kind of like, it's creepy as fuck."
Yeah, not
Yeah, I got to get home so I can do my homework.
Yeah, right.
So what the hell?
And it's like, dude,
God bless Mississippi, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a huge reason that Elvis kept Priscilla
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was dating her when she was 14.
Yeah. And he kept her, she basically lived with his father and went to school and everything, and Elvis was anywhere but wherever she was. And by the time she turned 18, he's like, shit, I gotta kind of do something with this girl I've basically been keeping on ice for almost 6 years.
He brought her over, no, 4 years, I guess. But I think he brought her over.
I don't think they got married until she was like 20 or 21.
I know, but that's just a formality.
Yeah.
He brought her over when she was like 16.
He didn't bang her. He didn't bang her until they got married.
Well, he skates by, but Jerry Lee Lewis did not skate by.
Well, because he married this 13-year-old girl, and he's trotting her out, And
it's his cousin, like two birds with one stone.
And it's his cousin. Yeah, that's the
other
thing.
And it's your cousin. Great.
Yeah.
Like I said, it sounds like a hold my beer moment.
Yeah.
I wanted you guys to see this book, The Birth of Rock and Roll.
Oh, yeah.
It's a coffee table book all about Sun Records.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Right.
Nice.
So, so he weathered the storm ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, he really. I can't imagine an artist now.
Oh no. Yeah.
he would just go to jail for pedophilia,
Right?
and
Think
that'd be
about
the end
that.
of it.
Yeah.
I actually looked it up, and there was just no laws in Mississippi against it at the time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
they
it's
just
it's crazy.
It's all
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But she did not really have a bot. I just don't get it personally.
But musically, there were
Oh yeah.
some of these guys that were just off the hook musically. Little Richard, just completely
Ah,
fucking off the hook.
yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis, completely off the hook. Elvis was somewhere in the middle. Like he had this wild kind of concert energy, but he also had the slow ballad.
Well, I
He
think I
could
think
do the lush productions too. But
Elvis's best stuff was the 14 tracks for Sun Records, and then in '56 he goes to RCA, and that was a whole other.
well, that first RCA album is fucking phenomenal.
Well,
It's
yeah, no,
phenomenal.
but
Yeah. The
that set.
first two RCA albums are solid, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, no, but I'm saying his Sun stuff was just so pure.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
that
yeah.
But
echo reverb that Sun
but there's
did,
there's a
that
manic
slap
ener
back.
there's a manic energy in Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis that even Elvis doesn't have. I'm not
Oh
saying
yeah,
that's better, but it's
yeah.
more manic. It's just like this crazy off the hook. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
when Motorhead first came along. It's
yeah.
just out of control, barreling through the.
Oh, Little Richard screaming, "You keep a knocking, but you can't come
Yeah.
in," with this pounding drums, and I
Yeah.
mean, that was fucking thrash metal.
His
You know?
voice was just shredded. His voice
Yeah,
was it
And,
was
and
crazy.
his woo was
Yeah, yeah.
definitely
yeah. But then he'd do "Ooh My Soul," which has this just blistering sax, and then he's all lispy and "Ooh My Soul," and it's
Yeah,
just
well,
hilarious.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
hilarious.
He was a great ball of fire.
Yeah.
well
Uh,
when the Beatles go woo, that's total little
Oh
oh
Richard.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a band I want to mention, the Johnny Burnett Trio,
Yeah, you've
and
always raved about them. Yeah,
they grew up in the same apartments, the same projects that Elvis grew up in. And if you can imagine a time, 1954, 1955, there was a time where Johnny Burnett Trio is playing all over the South, and they had a bigger following than Elvis did.
I
And there
can
was a
I can believe it because some of those early recordings, like I checked them out after you hit me to them, and
uh,
that's energetic, really
uh,
vital stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Burleson was the guitar player, and there was the legend goes that Burleson's got his cigarette stuck in the neck, the neck of the guitar,
Hmm.
the way Eddie Van Halen did, and uh, he's playing, and Johnny Burnett backs up on the stage. They're on this small stage, and he backs up and just backs his neck into the fucking cherry of the cigarette and screams into the microphone, and the whole place lost their fucking minds. And
So it's like I got to scream some more.
yeah, and it was like they're all these guys are up on stage, Elvis shaking his ass, realizing, hey, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because the crowd's going nuts. And they all had their little gimmicks. And, Jerry Lee Lewis would get up on top of the piano. Little Richard would, oh, you think I'll do it too, or I'll do it better. Each of them doing their little stage annex that seemed to work. And again, all of these little annex, if you step back, they form, the puzzle of what's rock and roll that became people's stage presence, or you do it once and it works. Now you got to do it every time, um,
Yeah.
like Hendrix burning his guitar. To me, probably the greatest uh, set of all time is Hendrix at Monterey, where he burns his guitar. Um,
Right.
and I'm told he did that at a few places, but I don't think it went over the way it did
Yeah.
at Monterey. And
Well,
to me,
that was his first gig in the U.S. after he became what we know
yeah,
as Jimi Hendrix.
right,
That was he comes back over. He was already catching on fire in England.
right.
Comes back over here, and people are like, "Holy shit!"
And there's
You
a
know?
fantastic scene in the movie Live at Monterey, and you see Hendrix. He's burning his guitar. He's doing his fingers above the flames and all that, and squirting it to get the flames higher. And there's these two girls in the front row or a few rows back, and they're just completely pulled out of their own they don't even. I wonder if they're horrified that he's doing it, if they like what they're seeing, or I think they're just like, "What the fuck did we just see?" You
Yeah.
know?
Well,
Yeah.
there's some hilarious footage. Hendrix, his one of his first tours he did over here after he became famous as Jimi Hendrix was opening for the Monkees,
Yeah.
and that's a match made in hell. And
Oh
and
my
Yeah.
God.
and there was footage of these teeny bopper girls crying, and the interview's like, what's wrong? Did you not like Jimi Hendrix? And they're like, oh my God, it was horrible. Like they were just their minds were just fried,
Right.
you know.
Um, my father saw Hendrix in '68
Wow.
uh, on tour with the Beach Boys, and
Oh wow.
he saw Hendrix and promptly left while the Beach Boys are just doing their, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
typical, you
Yeah.
know.
I
Now,
my,
the Beach Boys, it took me a long time, but they are
they're
fucking
geniuses.
incredible
Yeah, but
with
it's
the
a
vocal, but it's so not,
It's
you
not a
know,
good match.
it's not
no.
Hendrix.
Yeah.
My just since we're talking about bands our fathers saw, my dad, when I was about 16, I read No One Here Gets Out Alive. I grew my hair out. I had the same exact little black and white bead necklace that Jim
Yeah,
Morrison had.
yeah,
I thought I was Jim Morrison for a little while. Um, and I'm talking to my dad about the Doors, and he came of age in L.A. in the
sure.
mid to late '60s.
Yeah.
He grew up there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw the Doors." I'm like, "What? You saw the Doors?" And he's like, "Oh well, it was at a club. I was trying to make some chick. They're just playing in the background."
Oh,
I'm like,
Uh,
you saw the Doors and you didn't pay attention?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude, he's probably at the London Fog or the Whiskey,
Yeah, it's one of those places, and they're
uh,
just some band in the background.
phenomenal. That's just ridiculous.
the house band.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
crazy.
yeah, so Johnny Burnett, those it's one album. I put it on the playlist, and even the alternate takes are brilliant. To me, they are like the Robert Johnson of the rockabilly rock band. Just a handful of recordings, and Johnny Burnett, just like Buddy Holly, got tapped to go to the bigger studio and leave his band behind and make some just really watered down early '60s syrupy. Um, more of adult contemporary music versus
All if
the
you look
angst
at
ridden teenage stuff.
like the three movements that I see a parallel with early rock and roll, punk rock, and gangster rap, it's always the same story.
Yep.
It's the major labels are doing they're whatever they're doing, whether it's Bay City Rollers or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Perry Como or whatever. Then these indie labels come along and start releasing this really vital shit. but it's always indie labels. It's
Yeah.
fucking Master P's label or Def Jam or
Yeah.
fucking, and or Sun Records or whatever. And then they go to the major label. A major label buys the artist out, or they get Perry Como to cover that. Listen, go find Perry Como singing Tutti Frutti for a laugh. It is so
Oh,
square.
yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
as white. That's one of the most soulful, ripping
Yeah.
songs out there, and he manages to suck every bit of life out of it.
Right. Well,
It's
I
just
mean,
fucking
Pat Boone was brutal, man.
yeah. But
He homogenized the shit out of that.
that's what the major labels did. These
Yeah.
indie labels were doing all this vital, awesome stuff. Then they, bring Elvis to RCA, do two good albums, and then just release 20 shitty soundtrack albums.
Yeah.
You know?
They just killed him with that shit.
Yeah.
Um,
To please,
Elvis did manage in the '60s to get into some studios and do some recordings that were non-soundtrack stuff.
Yeah, his
But
gospel albums are
it's
good.
adult.
Yeah.
It's all adult contemporary
Yeah.
versus the angst, edgy rock and roll stuff. And
Yeah.
I think Elvis kind of matured to where he's like, yeah, I'd rather get, and he did. He got into some kind of funkier stuff,
Oh yeah. In the
and some
70s he
country stuff.
started getting his groove back in the
Yeah.
70s.
But so Paul Burleson and Johnny Burnett's brother, whose name escapes me, he was the drummer. They did not get along, but Johnny Burnett goes off and does, like, he had some hit by himself, which I can't think of right now, but it was a early '60s love song, and anyway, Burnett disappears. He's off the coast of California somewhere, a boat ride, and just either said fuck it and jumped into the ocean and died, or got swept off the boat. Something. He disappeared and was never
Wow.
seen again. Yeah.
That's one way to go out.
Yeah. Which is funny. Somehow I know this, and I think it's because of Johnny Burnett, the lead singer to Big Country, that early '80s
And
Scott
the
band.
big country that,
Yeah,
they had the song about
that
themselves.
guy.
That
Yeah,
wasn't as good as Iron Maiden's song about
no,
themselves
right.
or Black
No,
Sabbath's song about themselves.
that guy, same thing. Disappeared off a boat.
You got to be careful on those boats.
Oh,
So my wife and I are into sailing, so we've learned a lot about sailing. She's even into it more
does
than.
sailing take you away?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
all right.
But there was a husband and a wife. One way to get a free sailing trip is to basically offer to sail a rich person's boat from one point to another.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I'll
so
take the boat down to.
yeah, there
Yeah,
was a husband and a wife, and they they're taking a boat from New York down to the Bahamas. And
gotcha.
this story is always told to people who are learning sailing when the weather gets rough. Strap yourself. If you're on deck, put a safety harness on, right?
yeah.
Sure.
They didn't do it. There's a storm. The waves are coming, stormy. They didn't put a safety harness on. This wave crashes across the deck of the boat. The guy looks over. His wife is gone. Never saw her again.
Oh, wow.
So it's not that out of the realm of possibility that
Yeah.
Yeah.
a treasure
So
like Johnny Burnett and a blight on humanity like the big country guy would get swept off boats and never be seen again.
yeah. So kids, if you're listening, you have to just rock, and the warm sweater bullshit. Know that it's bullshit. Know if the rock feels soft and safe and too comfortable, you start to get a little hot. It's a warm sweater, and get that shit off.
Yeah. Who likes anything soft, right? Especially,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Black Sabbath Whiskey and Pantera, it's gotta rock. It's gotta grab you. Now there's other types of music that is pure and from the heart and has soul and passion. But if it's a warm sweater, man, you gotta
Yeah.
that's your sign. Get the
One
fuck.
one guy we didn't get it too deep into, and I just have a couple of notes,
Sure.
uh, but he was not soft, was Eddie Cochran.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
He writes Summertime Blues, which
Yep.
is, I mean, everybody does it.
Yep.
Every rock and roll band
Yeah.
does Summertime
And
Blues.
I mentioned him doing
Blue cheer,
something else.
man.
The Blue Cheer, The Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
mentioned him doing something else, which is just one of my favorites by
oh, God, you just took the words out of my mouth. That is my favorite song by him.
yeah.
That is rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's rock and roll. And
Somebody had,
he tells the listener,
yeah,
"Hey man, I want this car, I want that girl, but she's out of my class." And by the end of the song,
He's
here
in
he
her
is,
ass.
he's in her ass. Uh, Here he is knocking on her door, and wow, man, that girl's something else. It's just so good.
yes.
And Eddie Cochran started with another guy whose last name was Cochran, and they called themselves the Cochran brothers, but they weren't related. And but Eddie Cochran, like Eddie Van Halen, just took off, and uh, I Cochran's one of the best. Him
Oh,
and Gene Vincent. Gene Vincent's another one.
Yeah,
right.
that's kind of like those two. Those
Yeah.
two were straight up rockers, especially the early stuff.
And it kind of brought McCartney and Lennon together when they first met. What impressed John Lennon by McCartney was McCartney knew 20 Flight Rock.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I know
Right.
that story. Yeah, yeah.
So
that's great.
that was like, okay, this, John was like, yeah, this guy's for real. He
This
knows.
guy knows his stuff. Yeah. There's a great story that I want to say it's Iggy Pop. They played background. They were the backing band for Gene Vincent. Or no, it was Alice Cooper.
Yeah, it was the Alice Cooper group. Yeah,
Alice Cooper
that was
group.
the Alice Cooper group. Yeah.
And that is just a hilarious story because they're going to get to do their thing with all their makeup and weird crazy, and then they come on, they're like, hey, you gotta
Yeah.
you're gonna play for Gene
It
Vincent.
was a festival gig, and
And they're
it was it.
horrified.
Gene Vincent is doing like a comeback tour, and
Yeah.
they're and he comes out on stage and he looks at them, and it's like this just these long haired fucking freaks, and he kind of looks at him, and they look at him, and he's like, all right, let's see
Yeah,
what
whatever.
happens.
That's what the kids are doing these
And
days.
then that's the concert where they ripped up somebody threw a chicken on stage and
Yeah,
it got
yeah,
ripped up. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
Chicken feathers everywhere. That
yeah,
was when they were doing the Alice Cooper set though, but yeah.
yeah. But
yeah.
Cooper swears that they were told they'd have a few hours to uh you know take a shower, change into something nice to back up Gene Vincent.
And they're
uh
all sweaty and they're
just fucking you know
makeup and whatever. Yeah.
yeah. Cooper legit said that he was gonna comb his hair back and you know kind of 50s look, or and it just never, you know
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
That's a
like,
fucking
funny
funny.
yeah, like
story.
the Shana Na look.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But they were, Gene Vincent was, I mean, you look at those old pictures, Gene Vincent looked like the kind of guy that would get off his bike and beat the shit out of you. You know?
Right.
They did not look, and that,
Yeah.
to me, that's the appeal of rock and roll. Like, this is a
Rebel. Yeah, they
little
were rebel.
dangerous. This is
Sure.
a little,
The bad boys. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just for me, 12, 11, like 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. All the bad kids listen to ACDC, you
Yep.
know. and you would put on um, Let There Be Rock or Power Age or even Highway to Hell when that was out, um, and learn how to fucking smoke a joint. You know,
Hmm.
it's what we did,
That's
and
what we did.
that's to me that again that's rock and roll. Is
That's
the possible dangerousness versus some soft, you know, uh, mumble jangle like Pearl Jam or something. You know, it's
right.
not.
Yeah.
This is just not raw at all. You know,
Yeah.
but and the movies like we talked about, the James Dean, the troubled teenager, that just spoke to an entire generation that would grow up.
And
Uh,
yeah, I'm sorry. It just it occurred to me. I really got to say, Happy Days kind of brought those songs to life into my world anyway.
and American Graffiti.
And of course, American Graffiti, of course, yeah, and yeah, because Happy Days is kind of a TV version of that, kind of a
Sure,
lighter.
sure.
And, yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that,
Wolfman Jack is in American Graffiti.
yeah,
This does a great job of pretending he's not Wolfman Jack.
right,
He plays himself, not playing himself.
Hey
right.
there, I'm not Wolfman Jack.
I'm not
I'm not.
Wolfman Jack. I know I look like him,
I'm definitely not.
but
Definitely
I'm
not
not him.
Wolfman Jack. Uh-uh.
Um, but I think, and I mean, we can wrap it up anytime.
Yeah.
I think the beauty of the '50s and the rawness of all that music was really, um, Elvis goes off to Germany for 2 years. They were really trying to put a lid on all this teenage delinquency that I think had reached a boiling point, and then the Vietnam War and the Kennedy assassination destroyed a whole generation of kids' childhood, and
Yeah, the party's
led
over. Yeah.
led to the absolute just horrific dysfunction of the '60s, the
Hmm.
tumultuous late '60s, and then Snags and Silky's childhood. You
Yeah.
know, um, what we went through, and it's all very easily connected for me. Um, and I was 6, 7 years old, and my mom's over banging some guy, and they got a room in the back that I'm supposed to stay in, and in there is just a pile of 45s on the floor, just like somebody dumped out
Yeah.
uh, 5 or 6 boxes of records. And I remember I discovered Chuck Berry uh, in this back room and was almost forced to put the shit on, hearing Too Much Monkey Business
Yeah.
to drown out the sound of my mother getting railed,
Oh,
uh, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
so there you have it.
I have similar stories, but I'm not gonna go down that road.
oh my God.
So
Crazy fucking
I,
childhood.
but and I you'd think it could have a reverse effect, but I just Chuck Berry is my savior, my God, my king, just amazing,
Yeah.
so there you have it.
There you have it. That's early rock and roll, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rock and
um
roll.
and from Chuck Berry you can get into the Yardbirds, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, I mean Chuck Berry leads directly to Wasp. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Animal fuck like a beast.
yeah. That's right
So
after Chuck
You know
Berry.
what? We got a shout out to Alan Freed.
yes.
Oh yeah. We gotta talk about the payola scandal real quick.
Yeah, do that. And did you have a loudmouth lounge thing?
Sure, I'll do Loudmouth Lounge, but the payola scandal was basically they go after all these rock and roll DJs supposedly because they're taking money to pay to play records, right? The label, here's our new single. Oh, by the way, here's a few $100. Why don't you give it a spin? I'm sure that kind of shit
Yeah.
still happens, you know.
Well, what still
Uh,
happens is they put it on a list and you're told this is the number one song. And so
yeah,
because you're
yeah.
told that, you think that.
The DJs have no control. Not that anybody even listens to DJs anymore, but so they're supposedly going after them because of the payola scandal, but really they're trying to take down the DJs who are spreading this evil music and corrupting America's youth. And
Yeah.
just
Meanwhile, the country artists are drinking and beating their wives. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
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 And so Alan Freed's career gets ruined, and 4 years later he's dead
Yep.
because he just drinks himself to death, basically.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right. No, Courtney Love had him offed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No,
um,
I just saw the mafia and everything around it. I don't know.
If the
yeah, who knows?
government wants you gone, you're gone.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, I think Alan Freed ate a bullet, but that's just
But anyways, yeah. So there's that, and then yeah, Loudmouth Lounge. Okay, I'm gonna do I'm gonna read a couple verses from Rock Around the Clock, which I think is the first real, the big hit rock and roll song.
yeah.
And I'm going to read them as if I was William Shatner. So here we go. Put your glad rags on and join me, hun. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes one. We're going to rock around the clock tonight. We're going to rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. When the clock strikes 2, 3, even 4, if the band slows down, we'll yell for more. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much.
chilling.
That was fantastic.
Chilling. I
Yeah.
I
There you
thought I really thought Shatner was on the show.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, we piped him in. So spirit was here.
Damn.
What? Still alive?
Yeah.
Shatner, our podcast X account follows him. He's always talking shit on X.
Shatner is bizarrely like he was in high school in 35 or something crazy.
Mm.
Well,
Like if you look
he's
at
like he's like Keith Richards.
Yeah, if you look at Shatner's high school yearbook photo, you're like 1938. Like you're like, what? Yeah, I don't. I'd have to look again, but I remember being really alarmed at the year
Yeah.
that like so he is he's up there, man.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
almost 100. Yeah.
Like he was in his 30s when he was on Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone. Yeah, right.
You know, when he's in the diner and the little devil head.
Yep.
That one.
Yeah.
So crazy. But
Yep.
yeah. So check out the playlist if you do enjoy that. Do it on random. It's much better, and you're just gonna go all over the place. It's
Yep.
really good shit. So.
All right. Well, that's it. That's early rock and roll. Peace out, everybody.
Deuces.
Rock and roll.